Hello everyone, my name is Ali Husnain, and before I get into my analysis, I would first like to talk a little bit about the book itself. So the book is called The Things They Carried, and it is written by Tim O'Brien. And this book is basically, it consists of a series of war stories about different events that happened during the war, in which Tim O'Brien himself is also a character. And each story depicts um, different stories that different events that happened, and we learn from and we experience this from perspectives of different characters. And this story, which I'll be analyzing, is called Stockings, and this one is about a character called Henry Dobbins. And in my opinion, I think the main reason why this story was written was to showcase how, in the midst of war and the midst of all that horror and evil and violence, soldiers can sometimes find refuge or happiness in the most unexpected and random of things, which in this case are a pair of stockings. So, anyways, at the start of the story, uh, this specific story, Tim O'Brien basically describes who Andrew Dobbins was. He talks about him being a good man, a superb soldier, and he later on talks. He later on gives an analogy about Tim O'Brien, in which he basically uh, relates O'Brien to America itself. And there's also a simile in this, as in one part of the story in the first paragraph, O'Brien states how, in many ways, he was like America itself, big and strong. This is a simile as he is talking about Tim O'Brien being strong like America, using the word like. So this is a simile, in my opinion. And so O'Brien calls Dobbins a big and strong man who's full of good intentions, but then he says he has a roll of fat jiggling at his belly. So this showcases that although he is strong, he's a good soldier. And he's strong in other ways besides physicality. He does have a roll of fat jiggling at his belly, and this specific line could also be interpreted in different ways, because it could be O'Brien using it as a connotation for America, talking about how so many Americans are so many Americans who are not fighting, such as the powerful people, are all fat men who are doing nothing, staying at home, but these soldiers have to fight. Or it could just be simply O'Brien describing that Henry Dobbins was a pretty uh, chubby person, a fat person. So, anyways, um, so the main part of the story is about the stockings, the importance of stockings is that it is a symbol. So it's a symbol of a multi of different things depending on how you interpret it. One of the things that it might be a symbol for is of well, one thing it is a symbol for is for good luck, because Henry Dobbins believes that this pair of stockings or pantyhoses does bring him good luck, and these pair of stockings belong to his girlfriend back at home. And while while so many other soldiers were described to be carrying Bibles or guns or other stuff, Henry Dobbins stood out as, in the first chapter, he was described as someone who carries a pair of pantyhoses with him. So, and he had this because he felt it had good luck. And in the third paragraph, there's a bit of repetition in which O'Brien is describing the pantyhose, as he constantly says he, like putting his nose into the nylon, or he, like the memory is this inspired. He sometimes slept with the stockings up against his face. This is showcasing how the connection Henry Dobbins shared with the pantyhose. And so, before I get to more analysis, I just want to go over what the pantyhose can symbolize other than good luck. Well, it could maybe symbolize how a war, which is somewhere where, in this time, only men were, and and these soldiers were considered to be very tough men, big men who are not afraid of anything, are very masculine men. But one soldier who is described as a strong person finds happiness in something which is very feminine, a pair of stockings. So this showcases the the effect of this showcases how these soldiers were basically humans as well, because although they are in the war fighting and shooting guns and doing all this stuff, they still do miss home, and they miss small things such as pantyhoses. And this pantyhose which Henry Dobbins has reminds him of maybe back home or his girlfriend, which is why he thinks it brings him good luck. And anyways, and so when O'Brien was describing how how important the pantyhose was to Henry Dobbins, O'Brien used a little bit of imagery as well, because while describing, the readers are able to vividly imagine what is going on, and we're able to imagine Henry Dobbins actually putting over the pantyhose on him, and breathing the scent of his girlfriend's body. And so this is imagery in my opinion. And so and another part of this paragraph is when he O'Brien says they give access to a spiritual world where things were soft and intimate, a place where he might someday take his girlfriend to live. This is not only a use of emotive language, because it does create emotion. This showcases another connotation for the pantyhose, as in this case, the pantyhose could very well be a connotation for religion in a way, because some soldiers were described as carrying Bibles with them, but he has a pair of pantyhoses, and perhaps it's that pantyhose which helps him be closer to whoever his beliefs, whoever he believes in. So and and so and this continues on to the next chapter and the next page as well, because O'Brien states how, quote, like many of us in Vietnam, Dobbins felt the pull of superstition, and he believed firmly and absolutely in the protective power of the stockings. This again goes to show how the stockings could very well be a connotation or even a symbol of religion, because he believes in the pantyhose in a very superstitious way that it brings him good luck, which many people would think is non normal and like crazy. And another reason why he might feel this is because of the effects of war. Because in the previous stories, we've learned how the toll of war was on the soldiers and how tormenting it was. So perhaps all this hardship Dobbins has went through in the war and the violence he suffered in the war has led him to thinking that something as a pantyhose is bringing him luck when in fact it's not, and it's just luck in general which is keeping him alive right now. And O'Brien also states that the stockings were like body armor for him, and how whenever soldiers would get ready for a night ambush, they'd put on their helmets or jackets and take their guns. Dobbins would instead be focusing on arranging the nylons around his neck so he could tie a knot, and he would carefully place the stockings on him, which again goes to show how the emotional connection he feels with this. And O'Brien states how some soldiers did make jokes in the beginning because they might think that what's wrong with Dobbins? Is he not normal? Like what's his deal and stuff? But O'Brien states how later on the soldiers came to appreciate this and the mystery of everything, because like Dobbins, the soldiers too needed something to bring them happiness because they also missed back home. They missed home. They needed something to bring them luck. They needed something to rely on, because in Vietnam they didn't have any access to religious texts. Most of them, so perhaps they view the pantyhose or stockings as a way to feel peace and feel happy or feel luck, full of luck, as in this case. And Dobbins was he was never wounded. He never had a scratch. And O'Brien states how he once tripped over a bouncing Betty, but it didn't even detonate, which goes to show how um, that maybe this pantyhose is really what is bringing him luck, and that perhaps really does have some magical thing about it. But then, um, towards the end, we there's something there's a very contrasting thing that happens as we learn that Henry Dobbins' girlfriend dumps him, and so, but still he chooses to carry on wearing her pantyhose, which could potentially, which is possibly a use of juxtaposition, because O'Brien talks about his girlfriend's panty his girlfriend's pantyhose, and his girlfriend dumping him at the same time, which is very contrasting because O'Brien Henry Dobbins is no longer with his girlfriend, but he still chooses to wear something that belongs to her, which is very contrasting for sure, because it's not something most of us would expect. Because uh, O'Brien states how Dobbin said, the magic doesn't go away. So although the he may not be with his girlfriend anymore, he still feels that the magic doesn't go away, which again goes to show how this is more than just a pair of stockings for him and the other soldiers. It has become a light in the midst of darkness, which is the war, and it's something which they can look at and feel happy, and they can look at and realize that they might really make it out of this war zone alive. And so overall, I think the overall tone of this story was very positive compared to many other stories such as Kurt Lemon's story, because even when O'Brien was talking about the pantyhose, he talked about it using diction, which made it seem normal, something that for him was normal, nothing like crazy or out of sorts. So this use of diction created the positive tone and happy tone, which results in the overall mood of the story being positive as well, or happy as well, cheerful, because at the beginning, the readers probably would have thought that, why would someone wear a pantyhose in the midst of war? But we soon learn the importance of the pantyhose and how much it really means to the soldiers, and how it affects the soldiers, how much Dobbins cherishes it, the effect it had on the soldiers. So this creates a more of a happy mood for the readers as well. And the big picture of this was its main theme, which in my opinion is survival, because this story showcases how, in order to survive, soldiers would do the most unexpected things, as I said in the beginning. In this case, it was using a pair of stockings as a good luck charm, which for the most part did help them out, as Dobbin survived many near encounters to death with these stockings on him. And other themes could possibly be religion, as I talked about how they could view the pantyhose as a religious thing for them, because it's very superstitious for sure, the wearing the pantyhose, and they could view it as a way to feel at peace. And so yeah, I think that's the overall picture. The main idea of this story was to showcase how soldiers can, in the midst of evil, can find happiness in very unexpected ways. Thank you.